Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome you to Westover Capital Advisors Spring Summit. We recognize you have many choices when it comes to how you spend your time, so we are truly grateful that you've chosen to spend it with us here today. Before we start today's program, I want to take just a moment to speak directly to our clients and do something we don't do nearly enough, and that's simply to say thank you. You're the reason we're here. As a firm, we talk about treating our clients as part of our Westover family. Well, my wife Susie and I have 6 children, including three teenagers, so hopefully we treat you better than family. Seriously, you've trusted us with something deeply personal, your financial goals, your family goals, and maybe most importantly, your peace of mind. That's a responsibility we never take lightly. We think about it every single day. The relationships we've built with you over the years are honestly the thing we're most proud of. So from everyone at Westover, thank you for letting us be part of your financial journey. For those of you still getting to know us, Westover is a firm built around a very clear philosophy: thoughtful, independent financial advice, disciplined, tax-efficient investment management, and a deep commitment to client relationships. We're an independent, fee-based advisory firm with a fiduciary duty to put our clients' interests first. That means we answer to you, not to a parent company, not to a product we're trying to move, and not to quarterly sales goals. Our only agenda is yours. Uniquely, our in-house tax practice allows us to offer a fully integrated planning model that brings your investment strategy and your tax planning together under one roof. As Matt likes to say, we believe that what you keep is just as important as what you earn. This approach has allowed us to grow from about $190 million in assets 10 years ago to almost $700 million today. And it's humbling when others take notice of our commitment to our clients. As many of you know, we were recently named one of the top financial advisory firms in the country by Newsweek, a recognition we're proud of, not because we chase accolades, but because it reflects and validates the work our team puts in every single day on behalf of the people in this room. Today's summit is really an extension of our firm's philosophy. It's about bringing people together, sharing insights, and exploring ideas that matter, especially in a world that continues to evolve quickly and at times unpredictably. The most transformative force shaping the world today is artificial intelligence. It's influencing industries, economies, and investment landscapes in ways that are both exciting and complex. Understanding it beyond the headlines is critical. In a moment, I'll ask my colleague, Steve Grafasi, to introduce our keynote speaker, an expert in artificial intelligence who will help us cut through the noise and better understand both the opportunities and the implications of this rapidly advancing field. So again, thank you all for being here. We appreciate your time, your trust, and your conversation. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Steve.
Thanks, Chip. If you think about it, we're at a pretty unique moment right now. Artificial intelligence is no longer something on the horizon. It's here, it's evolving rapidly, and it's influencing how we make decisions, run our businesses, and manage our daily lives. And with that opportunity comes, a lot of noise. New tools, new platforms, bold claims. It's hard to separate what's truly valuable from what's just hype, and even harder to know how to actually use it. That's exactly why we brought in someone who lives and breathes AI every day. I had the chance to see Susan speak last November at the Schwab Impact Conference in Denver. She gave a talk called Compete on Awesome with AI, and it was one of the most engaging, entertaining, and useful sessions I attended all week. I walked out thinking we've got to get her in front of our friends and clients. And we're lucky enough to have her here with us today. She's a TEDx speaker, an author, MC, and a self-described super user of AI, and someone who uses these tools to streamline operations, reduce costs, and drive real growth. She's not just talking about AI, she's applying it. And today she'll help us cut through the noise, think more clearly about how AI can be used to improve productivity, enhance decision-making, and create efficiencies both at work and in our personal lives. And I think you're really going to enjoy this. So please join me in welcoming Susan Frew.
I know what you're thinking. Is this the keynote speaker? Seriously? I'm just the AI helper bot. The real star is warming up backstage. stretching her storytelling muscles and powering up with cold caffeine. She is not a tech bro in a hoodie. She is a former Fortune 20 executive turned AI super user who has logged thousands of hours on AI and uses it every single day in real business. She is here to cut through the hype of AI. No jargon, no theory, just real tools and real results. Please give a huge welcome to the one and only Susan Frew.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you to Westover for bringing me out. It is always an honor, and I love it when I have met someone who saw our talk and wanted to bring me back for their group as well. So AI is everywhere you look. What I am wearing right now on my face is a pair of Meta AI glasses. It can translate into 5 different languages that you may be speaking, and I'll hear you in English. They work on Bluetooth. They can do a tour. I can take them out anywhere. I took them out in Charlotte a few months ago, and we toured the town, and it told me everything I was seeing. And it has opinions, too. I went into this really weird art gallery, and I was looking around thinking to myself, this is really weird. And the AI said, this art is really weird. I hope nobody pays a lot of money for this stuff. So, and it's continuing to evolve. Yesterday, we saw Queen Camilla put on a pair of these Meta AI glasses. Mine are a prescription, which you now can get, and you can buy them in any sunglass store. And people can record you. Mine have a light, which I chose to engage. However, not everyone is going to be doing that. So another thing to be cautious about. People are going to be doing a lot of wearables as the future evolves. But where I'm going to take you through today is showing you some ways that AI is being used in daily applications, how you may want to use it, and what I think is going to happen in the near future. No one could predict further out than about a month or two with this because it is not legit. It changes so fast. I used to write a keynote presentation, it would last a year or better. Now, if it lasts a month, I'm lucky. Between my presentation earlier this week and today, I had to update 5 slides. That is how fast it is going. Good thing I am a person who likes change, but AI is already out there. The reason why my book is named Recoded, and Westover kindly bought all of you a copy of the book, and it's out there at the table. I signed all of them earlier today. But I have a question for all of you. Has anyone ever done a DNA test where you 23andMe, Ancestry, anything like that? Yeah? Any surprises? You don't have to tell me. But January 21st, 2021, my life changed forever. I opened up the results of my DNA test that we had gotten for Christmas, and I opened it. I didn't think anything was going to be changing. Now, just for reference, I grew up in New Jersey, but I've lived in Colorado for many, many years. I was with AT&T Wireless in New York City, got transferred to Colorado, and then I was general manager for 2 countries for AT&T Wireless and helped build out their whole Caribbean network. So my background has been in tech the entire time. I've lived many places. But I opened it up and I see that I am 52% Italian. What? My last name was Pulaski growing up. 52% Italian. I was Polish. I made the Christmas pierogies. What is happening here? And I started scrolling through all these names, which I didn't recognize. Now, anyone who would know the true answers to this mystery have been long deceased. So I have no one to ask. And then I see all these Italian names in New Jersey, and the most horrible thing happened. It came over me. Have I dated any of these people? Like, did I go to high school with them? Luckily, the answer is no. But it did really make me start thinking about who I was, how I was raised, how I looked at the world. And when AI really started getting some steam, and I started really studying, and I have spent thousands of hours. I still do now, 8 to 10, 12, 15 hours a week learning new things about this technology because it is so fast and so complicated. It's almost impossible to keep up. And the people that I follow for news, they say the same thing. People follow me for news, I follow them. And if you take a week off, it is crazy to get caught up. But as I was recoding my DNA and thinking about it, I knew that we needed now to recode or to re-see or to relearn how we did things. And AI, yes, it's a technology. It's big. It's a computer program, really. And what makes it different from any other computer program in history is that you don't need code. So I don't need to be a data scientist to make the AI do something for me. It works with your voice, and that's why the main AIs that you hear about a lot now, ChatGPT and Google Gemini and Microsoft and Grok by Elon Musk, and you'll see all of these different AIs coming out, and they are large language models. Pretty simple. You tell them what you want in English, in language, and it will give you what you need. You can build things with it. You can connect things with it. But it also has the ability, and it's getting really close, to thinking for itself. And I have seen it in my own study that things that I built 6 months ago are, first of all, no longer work because now that it's evolved, but it is starting to know and to learn and to do things faster and faster and faster without a lot of input. So I'll show you how agents work because we're hearing all about agents right now. Everyone's talking about them, and I'll show you what they are and how they work and how you might be able to detect them. We'll also talk about deep fakes. So of course, the man who introduced me is not a real man. He is a made-up avatar that I just gave him words and he was able to speak them. And we will begin to see more and more of that. If you've used Siri or you've used Alexa or you've spoken to your car in any way, shape, or form, that is artificial intelligence. It's just sort of a version on the back end. One of the things, though, what people miss, especially if you're going to deploy AI in an organization, yes, it's about the technology, but it's more about the workflow. It's more about how you do things and the knee bone connected to the shin bone, connected to the ankle bone, on how everything integrates with each other. And I'm seeing all types of organizations, yes, we need to get AI in our company, and they're going to go buy 200 Microsoft Copilot licenses, which, by the way, are $35 per person, per seat, per month. To think about how much that is, if you have 1,000 people in your organization, and they're deploying it without really much thought. And they're not making the people go through the workflow and understand where the AI might actually be helpful. They're just like trying to shove it in the corners of their company to say, hey, we're an AI. Indeed, which is the largest place to post a resume or to find a job, says that the #1 phrase for both employers and job seekers is AI literacy. And that is where we're heading. So in my teachings, and you'll see in the book that we have in the back for you, I talk about understanding you need to discover where there's challenges, bring everyone in the organization around the table, and then you can deploy the AI. Another thing, well, I'll tell you a little bit more about this in a moment, there's going to be detractors. So not every employee in every company wants to learn about AI because it's concerning. It could take their job. It could change things in their organization. But my teaching is always about becoming the best educated you can so it understands what it can and cannot do and how you may be able to use it. And be the best person. We call this human in the loop. Someone needs to supervise the AI. And so this word human in the loop is going to become more and more prevalent. You'll hear this time and time again. And if you go and tell your kids and grandkids that you are going to be the best human in the loop, I promise you, you are going to get some brownie points for that one. And this 3D framework is how I did something personal for myself. My husband and I owned a plumbing, heating, and air conditioning company, which is weird because my background is in tech. And we were plugging along, and I was doing 2 jobs. I was doing this, what I do, this is what I love to do, and running the plumbing company. And I really disliked running the plumbing company. No one has ever called a plumbing and heating company when they are having a good day. Never one time. But what happened was my husband got very, very sick 2.5 years ago. and he almost died. He was in the hospital for 8 days, and was sick, and I'm sure this is no one in this room, but my husband's the kind of guy, when he's sick, he doesn't go to the doctor. He Googles what his symptoms are, and he tries to do one of those online visits and get antibiotics, what have you, but it backfired on him this time, and he ended up in the hospital for 8 days. When he got out, we trying to get back to normal, we went camping, and he got struck by lightning. And he is alive. And I tell you that because I've forgotten that. And we've received sympathy cards and letters. It's very awkward at the house. So he's alive. But we decided that was the moment that we were out. We needed to get out of this thing. But we were not ready. The company wasn't ready. And I said, well, maybe I can start using AI. But it kind of felt like this.
I can't keep up with all of it. Every hour there's another breakthrough, another policy fight, another doom post. It's like drinking from a fire hose. I'm drowning in AI news. It's too much.
Anyone feel like that? But we were able to AI a bunch of different places without laying anyone off. So I was able to AI some of the financial information, the bookkeeping. I was able to AI all the marketing, which was $10,000 a month. I was able to AI the answering service, which was also incredibly expensive, and I saved $170,000 of the operating budget, which on a $2 million top-line company, that's a lot of money. And we were able to sell it. Now, it wasn't the exit that we planned or envisioned or anything like that, but we were able to find a home for our employees. They gave my husband a supervisor job for a few years. He works 3 days a week, and all of our employees got work, and our clients were happy. So that's the best way we could have done it. But if it weren't for the AI, we wouldn't have been able to do that. And then people started coming and asking me, how did you do that? Can you show us? How does it work? And here's just the timeline. And just so you know I see some people taking notes and pictures. You will get a handout at the end if you're a digital handout and with everything that I'm showing you. And if you don't capture it today, Westover folks will send it out to you an email. So you'll be able to download a lot of the things I'm talking about. But really AI started in the 1950s. And our military's been using it for years and years. So it's not really new. It's new to the world, though. When OpenAI launched ChatGPT 3.5 years ago, the world changed. And now everybody is on a race to keep up, get ahead. It is absolutely crazy to watch. But I want to say thank you to those of you who took my survey. That survey enables me to understand you as an audience, and to be able to deliver content that you would be interested in. Because there's a lot of different ways that we can do it. So 32% of you are using AI every single day. 52, security is a top concern, and it should be. Security with this stuff is very, very important. And 60% would want to save time weekly. And there's lots of ways to save time, but it's not insto presto, like many people think. It's like, well, I got the AI, it's not working. Well, you know what? I spend hours, I know what I'm talking about. I spend hours trying to make a workflow work. And sometimes it doesn't work. And my goal is always to break it, right? You want to create some of these things and break it. So if it breaks in the future, you know the process. So it's not an easy, it's definitely a heavy lift up front, and it's going to require some elbow grease to get there, and then you can really start seeing efficiencies. So who's in the room? We have business owners and to team members. So thank you, everyone took a turn at filling this out for me. Where are you with AI right now? Using AI daily and seeing results. That's pretty good. Experimenting, still figuring it out, skeptical and waiting to see, and aware but haven't started. So that's okay. That's pretty usual. And security and privacy. People ask me all the time, what AI is the most secure? Well, I'll tell you what I tell anyone. I believe that the Microsoft products, if you're using Microsoft in the suite of Microsoft products, just out of the box, that's probably the safest. Because of the fact that Microsoft has a lot of security built into its stuff, and it gives you the opportunity to link a lot of the things you may already be using, like PowerPoint and Outlook and Word and all of that. So that's the great part. It's easier to learn how to use because it's already baked in. I do think that a lot of the other AIs are great, but here's the thing that people don't realize. People say, oh, I'm using the free version. Well, you know, the free version is known for being the not private version. Because when you are on the free version of any of the AIs, any of them, you are agreeing to share your information with them, with the world. That means you're going to trust these data scientist guys who are really kind of in it for a buck, and your information is not safe. So that's key. So the $20 a month that people are on the fence about paying, if you want to use the AI, you get a PhD level assistant for $20 a month. It is worth it to protect what you have. Because now, very conveniently, you are able to connect everything on your computer and in your organization to the AI to help you do really cool things. Analytics and looking at history and looking at business planning. Woohoo, isn't this fun? But by doing that now, you are making your data vulnerable. So I believe the next big industry is going to be data security. I was talking to some folks earlier about software as a service organizations, right? Like companies that already have software companies, like how do they add AI in there? Well, they're trying to keep up because a lot of people are going to say, I don't need to pay this subscription because I can do this thing. And there's actually a new, is this okay? Yeah. There's actually a new job position in corporate America called the subscription manager. Because there's so many of these AIs and people are trying all of them at the same time that sometimes it goes off the rails. I jokingly say I'm starting a 12-step program for subscription addiction because I certainly suffer from that because I have so many subscriptions because I need to try them out and learn them so I can teach you. So overall, you guys are kind of in the middle of the pack. Only 8% of you are skeptical. So thank you. Thank you for having an open mind about this topic. So here you are, 48% of you. But what's going to happen, and I will bore you with the analogy of the Good to Great book, where all those companies are now out of business, good to great to gone. But the fact remains is this. There will be industries and organizations that do not get on board with this technology, and they are going to become obsolete. If people are waiting, there's going to be a problem. Because here's what's going to happen. The economic impact is going to be off. And when Steve saw the Compete on Awesome with AI talk, one of the main themes is about if you have a company over here selling donuts, and you are not using AI, you're not using anything fancy, you're doing all the marketing yourself, you're doing everything yourself, and over here, your neighbor across the street is using AI for the marketing, the bookkeeping, they don't have all this overhead, they're able to create a website in 15 minutes, all the things, your economy is gonna be off. One guy is gonna operate at a much lower rate than this person. So that's where you're going to start to see where it gets really off kilter. And you'll start seeing companies that are not coming on board fast enough. Another thing that I'm starting to see is this group of folks called the digital denialists. These are the people who are not on board. So I named all of them because I run into them all the time, or I have clients or meeting planners who tell me about it. And what's starting to happen, when I first started doing this talk in the beginning of AI, way back when, 3 years ago. And everybody was sort of at the same, right? Like they were curious, no one was really using it that much. And, there were some companies that were like, already amped up. They're like, yeah, this is great, we're diving in. But then it started to split. Then I had the people who were gung-ho, then I had the people who were not even there and refused to try it. And then I had the new group who didn't want anything to do with it, and they are refusing to use it. Now, that is a new group that I have been experiencing, and it's interesting. They're the young group, the very young group, and I'm saying under 30. They are the ones, a lot of, not all, are saying they don't want AI. They feel like it's taking their jobs, it's very bad for the environment, lots and lots of different ways that they feel that AI is not helpful. And there's sort of like this culture war going on. I don't know where that's going to play out, but I will tell you, and it's scary for young people, right? What do I go to school for? I have this coding degree, what should I do with it? What should I go my master's degree? I was gonna do all these things and now I don't know what to do. So it's a confusing time for a lot of young people. But here's my people that I see all the time, tongue in cheek. Phil.
All right, another innovation, huh? I've seen plenty of these transformations come and go. Remember that CRM rollout? Or the project management tool that gathered dust?
No one can ever do things like me. This AI business, it's a fad. It will not last. Less is more, and when it comes to excellence, I'm the benchmark. Dip.
They call me the martyr. Only one in the company that believes it. I'm not swamped. I'm not valuable. Maybe that's the point.
Look, I know everyone says we should pick it up, that it's the future, that it'll make things faster, but I can't. If I help train it, if I learn it, it learns me right out of a paycheck. So no, I won't touch it. Not because I don't get it, but because I do.
And this next person is the number one person that I see.
Look, I get that everyone's excited about these new AI tools, but I just don't have time to learn this. I've got meetings back to back, reports due yesterday. I can't squeeze in another training session.
This is the person. They don't have time because it does take time. You need to carve out time. And what I personally have started doing, I have to use my own advice, is that I need to wall off some uninterrupted time to play around with the technologies. Because it's definitely a trial and error, it's experimentation. And what I have recommended to a lot of clients is giving their teams and employees breathing room to learn stuff. Right? So after they map the workflow and they decide what product they're going to use, next step from that is implementation. And they need to be able to understand how it works, and they need to be able to play with it. The only way that you learn really how these systems work is trial and error. Messing around with it, learning it, getting comfortable, starting small, maybe using it to write emails, not junk emails, because we get a bunch of those, but actually using it and just asking it questions or asking it for help. So that's one of the things. And I explained to you my crucible moment of how I got involved with AI and saved all that money, but this framework is how I did it exactly. I was able to go through and to use this 3D framework in there. And I'm going to move this ahead because I want to make sure that we finish on time. And I will be available for questions, and I'll be staying here for a while. So if you have questions that you want to go through with me, I'm happy to spend the time with you. So here's all the AI toolkit, right? Not everyone uses all of this stuff, but ChatGPT, this is the one that is by OpenAI. You are probably hearing this week in the news a ton about OpenAI. OpenAI CEO, Sam Altman. OpenAI was started with Elon Musk, Sam Altman, and Microsoft 15 years ago. Nobody realizes that, right? So somewhere in the middle of that, Elon got mad. I know you're finding this shocking. And he left, and he started his own company called Grok, which is under the umbrella of X, formerly Twitter. Since then, and now OpenAI, weirdly, is a nonprofit. It's like worth billions of dollars, like these crazy, crazy assessments and values of these companies. But anyway, they're a nonprofit. They want to be a for-profit. They want to have an IPO. And I think, you know what, we got rid of the pennies, but on the top end, I don't think billions is going to do it. Like, we're going to need another word, like gajillions or zillions. I don't know what it is, but that's where these evaluations are headed. But so ChatGPT, they're the one who launched first. Microsoft Copilot, easy peasy. That's run by, of course, the Gates family. Notebook LM. This is one of my favorites. Steve was talking about it. He saw me debut this at Schwab. This is a Google product, and it's relatively free. And the cool thing about it is you can make a notebook in there. As long as you have a Google address or account or something, it's free. So it's And it's super secure because anything that you put in the notebook stays in there and it doesn't go out to the internet unless you tell it to. So what I do is I make a notebook for every single one of my clients. And then I save all the information, call transcripts and their website, anything that I can figure out like what they need from me or we're going to work a project together, everything goes in the notebook. And I'll show you a real example of that. It's absolutely amazing. Gamma makes PowerPoints in about 45 seconds. I met a man at a conference, it was a trades conference. He said that the number one job he hated the most was making the weekly videos for safety. He hated it and doing the PowerPoints. So we did a science test, I brought him up. We made his PowerPoint for safety in 48 seconds. It used to take him 5 hours. Right? And it also gave him a list of ideas. That was his bigger part too. Like, I don't even know what to say anymore. I've been doing this stupid safety training for years. Hey, Jen, that is what you saw in the beginning. That's the avatars. That's something that's going to continue to be more and more and more with the avatars. And they're getting better and better. There's one that I did a few weeks ago and I showed my husband. He didn't know which one was me or which one was the avatar. He did get struck by lightning, so like that could have been part of it, but for the most part, yeah. So ChatGPT, I explained a little bit about it. It's private on the paid plan. It is not private on the free plan. So if you're using it on the free plan, there's nothing wrong with that. Just don't put anything secure in there and do not connect it to your computer. And I'm going to show you some risks that I have taken, but I don't have any secure information, so it's okay. Microsoft Copilot, once again, the safest one, Notebook LM.
This is the brief on integrating AI into elite commercial painting businesses. The Commercial Painting Industry Association, or CPIA, is hosting an upcoming event in Nashville, bringing in AI expert Susan Frew to teach top-tier contractors.
Okay, so I'm going to back that up. You just heard that video quickly. I'm going to back it up. I'm going to show you this. So this is Notebook LM.
This is the brief on integrating AI.
Right. All right. The tech speaker with the tech problem is right here. And here we go. We're going to shut that off. So what you're seeing here and what you just heard is a podcast that I created out of everything about this client. And they gave me permission to show this to you. So what I did is I took every meeting note and their website and all about their event, and I put it in there. Out of that, I can create a video. I can create a podcast to listen to it. I can create a briefing doc. I can create a PowerPoint presentation. I can create a mind map. Literally dozens of things that I could use inside of here in containment. So the way I use it is I want to understand the client's needs for their event. So that's why I keep one for each client, so I can understand, I can build infographics, all kinds of graphic displays. Steve, I don't know exactly what you're using it for, but I'm going to find out tomorrow. I'm going to be working with them tomorrow. But it is, to me, the best value out there. It is free, and it's safe because it does not go to the web unless you tell it. And the podcast, you might be going, well, what do I want to do that for? Well, think about this. Imagine if you have an organization that has training or something in English, and you want to translate it to teach employees or other people. It translates into 120 different languages. So whatever you put in here, I have a client with a manufacturing company. We've done this twice now. A company out of Canada and a company not far from here in Pennsylvania. They needed training because they have a plant in Canada, they have a plant in Mexico, and they have a plant in Dubai. So we were able to create these sort of audible podcasts out of stuff they already had. They had all this stuff written down, and they had it typed up in their process manual. So we threw the whole process manual in there, and we made training for all those people in different languages. So it's brilliant for that. So I can't say enough. And Google does not pay me for this, so just saying. I really like it. Something else, I'm just going to show you the back end of this. This works with all of the AIs. So whichever one you might be using, ChatGPT or Microsoft or what have you, if you customize it, you're going to get better results. So you know when you see those like dumb emails that people send, you know it's AI? First of all, they're thrilled to send you an email. Who says that? And there's also these other like things that you can tell. They put the M dashes in there. Like, so you know what that's called? It's called AI slop, or work slop is what it's called. And so in order not to have that, you can customize all of the AIs on the back, just click the settings, which most people don't do, and you tell it how you like to communicate. For me, I'm a short burst communicator. If you get a 3-paragraph email from me, I have died, or I have been hacked, but I would never send a 3-paragraph email, ever. Julie on my team would, but that's another story. But you have to personalize it so it sounds like you and gets to know you. And I have people, it will be in the handout, where you can make a custom document all about you. And I call that a master prompt. And prompting is how you ask the AI. You ask it questions, it gives you answers. The better the questions are, the better the answers. And the questions have to be sort of in a special format. But the more the AI gets to know you, the better instant responses you'll get. So we do something called a master prompt. The next thing that you're going to hear is about agents. Agents are AIs that work without your hands on. Now, you have to set them up. They're not geniuses. You have to do the workflow, and it will start doing tasks. So think about it, tasks that you can delegate to the agents. There's also a way now where you can connect multiple agents together. And last year, Microsoft's trend report came out in February, very highly regarded trend report. And it says that the future of work will be organizations that the C-suite will be supervising agents. So maybe the marketing department will be an agent. Maybe the sales department or the people who write the proposals for the sales department might be an agent. And then the C-suite will be managing all these people, which aren't people, they're tasks. So think about, we're gonna do the tasks. And that's what we'll do.
Agents.
What agents? I don't get it.
Right, and that's what most people have. What you're seeing here is Gamma. So this, I have it set up on an agent, so I can, when I receive certain emails or information into my notebook LM, I have it automatically go in there and create a PowerPoint for me. So that is an agent automation. But basically, this is live. I did not speed this up. All I wrote in there is write me a PowerPoint for my sales meeting next week. And that's how fast it's going. So if you've ever spent a whole day pulling your hair out trying to make a presentation, this is for you. And guess what? It's free up until 8 slides. If you want to go deeper than that, or you want to add your brand kit, so that red, big surprise, is my brand kit. So mine automatically defaults to my brand kit, my fonts, my colors, and then it adds in all these pictures just based on that one sentence, and it did it this fast. So yeah, it's amazing. For really, because how many times you spend hours working on that presentation, and then you look at it 3 months later and go, oh, that's terrible. What was I thinking? That doesn't look good. Now, and look at it, added all those images in there automatically. I didn't tell it anything. So yeah, pretty cool. I just said, make me a PowerPoint for the sales meeting next week. That's it. And it just, no, just that. So if you give it a good prompt, it's really something. Okay, so this one here is going to make the finance people in the room really nervous. So if you're sitting next to one of them, you might want to get the smelling salts out. But this is my Zoho books. I use Zoho as a CRM, so it competes kind of with QuickBooks, what have you. So what I did is I taught the agent to do the bank reconciliation and to categorize everything in there. So what you're seeing is the agent clicking down there. You'll see it spinning over there. And I have it go into my books every single week, and it categorizes everything. And I've been training it to do the categorization, and now I've got it doing the automatic bank reconciliation. I don't allow it in the bank, But what I do is it sends me a reminder that I need to download or upload the bank statement. So on the 3rd of the month, it sends me a message, you need to upload the bank statement so it could do the reconciliation. And there was a problem in my books, like there was an error in there, and I kept asking my bookkeeper that I really don't need anymore, what was going on, and I could never get a straight answer. Well, Claude, this is Claude I'm using in here, Claude fixed it in like 15 minutes. And so I have this automated. Here's something else that I have automated. Does anybody do marketing or need to do marketing, social media, anything like that? Okay, well, this is the next generation of that. I have the agent set up in Claude to set up my marketing for the month. And I want it to do a calendar of marketing, right? So every single month, at the end of the month, and what I want it to do with it, the topic, is what is the AI news that's coming out, and what are the trends, and what do I need for social media? Now, what you post on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram are all different. So, and carousels and this, like what's in, what's out, who knows? And I was at one point in the plumbing company paying $10,000 a month for marketing services. So what I do now, every single month, it sends me a marketing calendar. Then that marketing calendar creates all of my marketing for the month. And then I'm able to right here. So this spreadsheet comes out down the bottom. It says calendar overview, LinkedIn post, Instagram, top creators. So I also had to go out and study all of my competitors in the AI speaker space. So now it goes out every month as it's creating this and looks at all those people and what are they doing? And what kind of responses are they getting? And then it goes through and it's starting to post them. It also goes so far, it tells me what day and what time to post it. So now I've hired a person, there needs to be a human in the loop on this. I've hired a person overseas, she just follows the calendar every month and she posts everything. And then tells me when I need to make videos or something like that. So this is an automated agent, and that's it working over there. The next one here, I've been doing that with the calendar for about a month. Now, it took me a couple of days to learn how to do it, to get the right output, but look at what happened. This is like Friday, April 24th, just recently. I have, my post impressions are up by 452%. 501 profile views of my profile, which is unheard of. My followers went up, my newsletter went up by 289% of views. And then the other one over there is the Facebook. So bam, it knew exactly what to put out there. And I don't need to think about it or
Here's a new cool thing you can do with AI. I was able to learn some new languages before heading to this conference. Por ejemplo, ahora puedo hablar en español incluso sin usar mis gafas meta. E se attraversassi il mare potrei parlare italiano perché ormai sappiamo tutti che sono italiana. Après l'Italie, je peux toujours aller visiter l'un de mes autres pays préférés, qui est la France, et la ville de Paris. 最后，但同样重要的是，我们还可以用中文交流。我相信这总有一天会派上用场。
So you can do 129 languages. You can pick all kinds of people. I have a client who has a chicken feed factory. They were paying influencers all over the country who would like feed their chickens with their stuff and they would make videos. They were able to save like $20,000 by making AI chicken feed people. So they made their own influencers and then they got them to say exactly what they wanted to say. It's really kind of mind-blowing sometimes when you think about the things that are coming out. One of the things that I use for all the AI together, and I've been teaching this as a standalone because everyone wants to know how to do it. So I've been creating a proposal. Like, I think that competition now in whatever industry you're in is hard. Right? Everybody's trying to, get the same business, and depending upon what industry you're in, like your proposal and how you show up needs to be customized. You need to be really interviewing your client to see what do they want? What do they like? Can I deliver for them what I need to deliver? So many people record a Zoom call or what have you, and then they put it in the file and don't really do much with it. So I started taking those videos from the Zoom call, and I started using them to create my proposal. A couple different ways. I used the summary to kind of summarize it and make sure that I was on track. But then, I don't know if you've ever been on a Zoom call or something with 5 or 6 people, and it gets kind of confusing, like, what is this one looking at, or what are they saying, or what's the body language? So I started putting those videos into Google Studio, and it analyzed the body language. And be like, well, when you were talking about this, Mary wasn't paying attention, and it identified all the people. So then I was able to use that, put all of this information into Notebook LM. I was able to create proposals out of there. I used the Gamma to create the live proposal, and this is what it looks like. So I just took a selfie of myself, just like I did earlier today. So tomorrow I'll have a new video, but I put it into Gamma and I put the proposal exactly what the people asked for. Imagine that, super customized. Now, in the past, this would have taken me a week. And another thing about Gamma, which I didn't bring up, but Gamma will also, you can take your old PowerPoints or old presentation stuff and put it in there, and it will dolly them up. So if you look back at your presentation now, go, ooh, you can fix them. It's okay. And then here's just a sample of that.
Hi, Sawyer and Brooke. Thank you again for the great conversation today. I appreciate learning more about Northwest Iowa Community College and your goals around the workforce and community education. Based on our discussion, I've designed a flexible program that supports both customized employer training and open enrollment learning. The program's called Recoded, Upgrading Your Business DNA with AI.
Isn't that something?
My approach is simple. Go old school before you go new school.
And I stand by that.
We always start with a preset.
You need to go old school before you go new school. And when I work with a company who wants to implement AI, we get everyone around the table, we take flip charts, we take markers, we take sticky notes, and everyone who's a part of the process gets to have a voice. And then we can get real hits. And so these glasses are just the beginning, folks. You really want to be careful because these wearables are going to continue to come out. This is going to be more and more. And now Apple CEO Tim Cook has announced that he's stepping down because I really feel like Bill Gates, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting his name, who started Apple, Steve Jobs, is rolling over in his grave, seeing how Apple dropped the ball on all this AI stuff. Because they're like, oh, it's like, seriously, guys, But anyhow, with the new CEO, he's a hardware person. So I think we're going to start seeing a lot more from Apple and all the manufacturers on that. One use case I want to share with you, just as a cool example, I was the keynote speaker at the International Nanny Conference a few weeks ago, right? And I was like, okay, well, this is going to be interesting because I don't even know what to say to these folks. But I started digging and I wanted to know what their big problem was. What the nanny said their big problem was. Their big problem is that the parents of the kids that they were nanny to were too busy to answer questions. They were impatient. They didn't want to go through this again. Like, it was very difficult for them to understand what the parent wanted without constantly texting them and bothering them at work. So what I did is I built them an app, and it's called Nanny Knows AI. And the premise behind it is that the parents have to go through and fill out a 150 questionnaire. Yes, no, where's the EpiPen, right? What's the pediatrician's phone number? Lots of important things. And then the nanny could just ask the app. So I was met with a lot of resistance. They said, oh, the parents will never take the time to fill that out. And blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, would they rather be getting texted every 5 minutes, or would they rather take the time to fill out the survey? Well, they told me it was never going to work. No one was going to use it. Well, I built it on my own platform so I can see the use. And then last week, I got a huge bill from the back end of it because so many people were using the app. And I did it for them for free as an example. So now I need to figure out what to do next. But the thing is, I know how to build apps now. And I certainly don't know how to do that. That's what's called vibe coding. You'll hear that word. Vibe coding is you tell the AI in plain language what you want to create, and boom, there it is. So, what is next? I don't know what the future of AI is in store. Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going to happen, but, you know, this is possible. Yes. So we're going to hear from my little friend Tiramisu here in a moment, and then there's going to be a QR code. You scan that with your phone, and you'll get your downloads. And then don't go anywhere, because I'm going to just close it out real quick, and then we're going to have Q&A, or I will be here if you want to ask something private. We can talk in the hallway. So here's Tiramisu.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tiramisu, and we're going to pause for a moment so you can give my mom some feedback, and you can get your downloads. Don't worry if the feedback's not good. It helps her get better, and I'll snuggle with her while she drinks heavily and listens to Taylor Swift shake it off over and over and over again. My mom will be right back.
Okay, here you go. But also, I'll be giving this to the Westover folks, so if you, I'll give them the handouts that they can send out to you. So you might have been wondering, or maybe not, about, you know, the whole how did I become Italian thing. Well, what I learned through all of my research, I have done 10 DNA tests. I've hired a DNA detective. I've joined 9 different Facebook groups about DNA. I have done research ad nauseum. I even went to Italy, and guess what? Everyone spoke to me in Italian. That's how Italian I look. But what I was able to find out is that my mom and my dad were really on the outs right before I was born. And she repeatedly said, like, if you didn't come along, I don't think we would have made it. And so that's pretty much what happened. And I have made friends with my cousins in New Jersey. And in fact, tomorrow, after I leave here, I'm driving to New Jersey, and we're spending time together again. And we have been meeting, we've done Zoom calls. I flew to New Jersey 2 years ago once they found out who I was and all of that. But here's the thing, I could have one of 3 brothers as my father. So the relatives fondly call me Mamma Mia, because we don't know who it's from. But with all those DNA tests, there were some mystery people in there. Like there's this young girl and these 2 guys. Well, who are these people? No one's ever heard of them. None of the new families heard of them. No one knows who they are. 3 weeks ago, I opened up on my browser, my Ancestry account. I opened up my 23andMe account, and I opened up my Google Drive folder with all the data and things I've been collecting for the last 5 years. And I said to Claude, I want to find out who my father is. I don't know who these 3 people are, but maybe if you dig in. Well, Claude went in there, and that's Claude working on its own. So I set this up. It was on a Saturday, and I left. And I came back 3 hours later, and Claude figured out who my father was. And this screen, I have never seen this screen. I have been glued to that 23andMe and Ancestry for years, and I've never seen it. So Claude somehow found it. It figured out who the missing people were. I ran that by all the relatives. It gave me a 22-page report, and they all agreed that that is what happened. Interestingly, I have a half-sister named Susan, who I've not met, so that's a story for another time. But I want to thank all of you for being open-minded to come and learn all about AI, whether you decide to use it or not. Hopefully you now know some ideas of what it is and what it does and where it will go. And one thing, it is not going away. That is one thing that we know. It is going to continue to gain steam. So I caution everyone, protect yourself, protect your data. Make sure that you don't fall for any scams with these avatars. Really be discerning. And that's going to be discernment. Like if it seems too good to be true or it looks weird, it is. So thank you, everyone. I really appreciate all of your attention. Thank you, Westover. Thank you, Steve, for bringing me in. And I look forward to you reading the book and letting me know what you think. So thank you. Do you want me to do questions now? Yeah? We'll do some Q&A? Yes, I know I'm standing between you and the cocktails, but that's okay. Okay, so what he experienced was called the hallucination. So the AI wants to please, it wants to serve, and it will give you work slop. It will give you a bunch of nonsense if you're not discerning. So what I do, especially if it's something important where it's doing citations, you can tell the AI, if you are unsure, ask me more questions. If you cannot find a legitimate citations, do not do that. Like you can instruct it. Also, the free versions are not as accurate as some of the paid ones, and it is gathering things that it finds all over the web and in libraries everywhere. What I will do in a situation like that where I think it smells like a fish, I will run it through another AI and see what kind of responses I'm getting. Now, in my humble opinion, I think that there's some AIs that are more accurate than others. But I will say it didn't. I know, well, that's the discernment part. We all need to be like, huh.
List of citations, and the first couple I checked were legitimate ones. It was only when I kept checking that I found that. So there was nothing about it.
And you were using ChatGPT?
I don't know, because I was the recipient of the document. I wasn't the one who created it. So I don't know what he used to do that.
Well, you need to be we all need to check, right? We don't know. My husband didn't know the avatar was me. Well, the lightning thing, though.
I've been using Perplexity recently.
Oh, yeah.
And I've been very happy. I've been using it for certain legal documents and then for real estate assessments and, all these crazy things that I don't know anything about. What is your opinion of Perplexity?
I think Perplexity is fantastic. And the cool thing about Perplexity and some of the other ones that are going to be coming out, Perplexity is probably the lesser known one. They're making their own browsers. So right now, if you wanted to look up something on the internet, you would go to Chrome or Safari or something, you'd look at the browser. So Perplexity has its own browser. So the AI is built into everything. Microsoft, too, now has its own, ChatGPT, Claude, all of that. Perplexity is more conservative. But the cool thing about Claude, it's got plugins that are legal plugins, right? So it is skilled already in legal assessment, analyzing. Right? I would not use it probably to write a contract, but if you need to analyze a big stack of documents, especially when they're this thick, the analytical powers are phenomenal on both of them. So Claude and Perplexity, I think they're kind of like the grown-ups of the AI world, right? They're more geared toward business. And so you're going to get better business responses. And once again, if you train it to sound more like you and to respond like you, you're also going to get much better results. It will really change everything.
And what I really enjoyed was the 7-8 days I've been using it. So suppose day 5, I go and ask a question. They kind of go back to the information I've given on various things. And their answer comes weighing that.
Yes.
I love it.
So Perplexity and Claude are both really good at memorizing your previous chats and the previous information that you're doing. Right now, a lot of people I'm getting inquiries about, they want to move from one AI to another. They don't want to have 82 subscriptions like I do. And there is a way. So if you do want to move from one to the other, you can extrapolate all the data from your previous chats into a document, and you can move it into another one if you want. But the memory capabilities on those two especially are getting so much better. But be careful with that, because it's tempting to connect it to your Google Drive or your OneDrive or your computer desktop, right? Oh, look at this, it's analyzing all these cool things on my desktop from 10 years ago. That's great, but now you're giving it control of your desktop. So just, lens, gotta always look through the lens. They're recording it, I think that's why.
My question is about when this AI will or maybe not become sentient or aware of itself as an entity and be able to make decisions on its own. And how do you see that coming about?
Let me go back to the aliens for a minute. So that's called AGI. That is when the AI is working on its own, thinking about itself, what have you. There's different camps on that. Some people are hinting that they already have it. There's a lot of concern that the Chinese might get it before we do, and we won't know, and then there's going to be all these things, that it's doing and not doing. It's going to continue to be a concern. The information that I have, following the people that I follow, they believe it's not here yet, okay? But it is a real worry and a real concern. And there is no really guardrails out there. Like everybody's doing whatever they want to do. Like those images I made with all those real people and I turned them into aliens, I did that on Grok, which is X, built into X, which is ridiculous. It's $50 a month. But I took all those real photos and I turned them into aliens. None of the other AIs would allow me to do that. Right, so not all of them have any guardrails at all. Like ChatGPT or Gemini, or none of them would let me do it. I mean, I just tried just to see, but Grok can put anything in there. Well, be careful. Just keep your eyes open. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think that they're going fast enough. And I'll tell you an example. I have a client in Canada. I said, they have this, they're in Toronto, Mexico, and Dubai. The Canadian government gives manufacturing companies money to hire AI trainers to come in and teach the workforce. So we did this training program for them. It was 4 months long with all of their employees. Every single week we would meet. And so that's what needs to really be happening, is that people need to be reskilling. And here's something else. So this is interesting, a little, I don't know yes or no on this, but Atlassian, which is a big software company, laid off a whole bunch of people a few weeks ago. I was listening to the financial news on that, and they were saying that they should have laid people off 2 years ago, that they were, wobbly financially, and they should, now they're blaming it on AI. And so these pundits were saying, like, they think they're gonna see more of that. They're gonna blame it on AI when really the company was sideways anyhow. So I don't know. And I think it's going to be remain to see. I'm very curious to see the Microsoft Work Trend report that just came out, but PwC just came out with a report a week and a half ago. It's in my downloads. I would read that because they are talking about what is actually happening in corporate America with adoption, who's using it, how many people, what have you, and I think that's kind of an insight that you'll see. So hopefully that will answer your question. Yes.
Ms. Frew, in your website, do you have something like for a novice that's going to start using the AI? There are so many different AIs that I've heard that basically I've understood that it's data that's already been put in there. Mm-hmm. And you've mentioned different AIs that they're specific to a certain market. Mm-hmm. And so I'm a medical professional, and we also have a property management company. Mm-hmm. Do you have in your book or in your website something that says this is how you start and then use this AI and then grow from it? Or do you recommend hiring somebody and then making your life so much easier?
So the book is a step-by-step. It will show you how to implement. Right, and bringing everybody around the table, understanding what your goals are, just like any strategic planning meeting that you may have had over years, right? It looks just like that in the beginning. And then you really find out the areas where the AI could be helpful, like the man with the safety presentation, right? Like that was kind of super simple, but 5 hours a week, and the guy hated it. So really, if you're using the AI to free up your time so you can be the best person you can be, making phone calls, having client lunches, everybody's so overwhelmed and busy, they don't have time to do the one-on-ones and the things that are vitally important to your organization. I do on-site training. And that's what I'm working with Westover tomorrow. We're going to bring everybody around the table and we're going to do some training. I do put a newsletter out every single Wednesday that talks about new things in AI, but the book will definitely have a step-by-step thing to at least kick you off. Okay? Answer your question? Yes. Okay. Yes. That's a loaded question. I didn't even have a drink yet. No. Okay, here's what I think. His grandchildren, what advice should he give his grandchildren? Well, I get calls all the time from people who say, what should my kid study in college? Or my kid went to school for coding and now he doesn't need it anymore. Well, yes, he does. I believe that anything that they are learning in school now, whether that be secondary or college or beyond, they need to understand how the AI can make that industry or that job better and become the expert. I have a friend from childhood that his daughter is in school for marketing. And she is a very shy person, extremely shy. I mean, wouldn't have called marketing for her in a million years, but anyway, and she's not taking any technology or AI classes. And I'm like, she has to, because marketing is one of the industries that, and what's going to happen is this, you're going to need to have more. So the bookkeeping example that I showed you guys, right? I have a friend who's a bookkeeper and she's got 6 clients. She doesn't really earn enough money from those 6 clients. So what will happen now, there'll be a competitor bookkeeper that used my little setup, and now I could have 50 clients. So that's really got to be the trend. How can you implement or merge it in? Now, there'll be industries that will completely not touch AI at all, right? They're going to be like a lot of the trade industries. There'll be medical industries, lab industries, which also are very helpful with AI. But whatever she or he's learning, they need to be able to bring the technology in and taking those classes. Yes.
The growth and opposition to those centers. So where do we go?
That is happening. And that is the younger folks. That's what I'm hearing. And certain parts of the country have more data centers than others. And having owned a plumbing and HVAC company, the energy is being used for the cooling, right? So data centers are super hot because they have these really big giant computers working and they need to cool that down in order for them to work and not overheat. So they're putting these data centers all over the country. And weirdly, which kind of blows my mind, they have a bunch of them in South Texas and South Arizona, which is that's the hottest place on earth. Why would you put a data center there? It's so stupid. But now this is going to sound crazy. I need to go back to the aliens. One of the reasons why they are doing a lot of going to the moon and going to the dark side of the moon, and if you listen to a lot of Elon Musk predictions for the future, and Jensen Huang, who is the CEO of NVIDIA, he makes the chips for all the AIs, he's a guy to watch probably. What they're saying is they're going to eventually put the data center in space, and they don't think they're too far off because it's cool. Right? And if they could throw a satellite up there, well, why not put the data center up there? And now we take this problem off the table. So that remains to be seen. It'll be kind of like the Star Trek Enterprise, the data centers are going to float around out there. So I don't know. Yes, but I understand it is a concern. I don't think it's going to be a long-term concern, though. I don't think it's going to be 50 years later. It's going to be 5. Yes.
So do you see going to small language models during some of that?
Well, okay, so here's something that, the environmental folks will bring up. So every time that you ask the AI, like something silly, like what should I cook for dinner, you're using compute, right? So what they're trying to get people to do is to like really be thoughtful about what you're asking it and to really learn how to prompt, right? And ask it in the right format and the right sequence and not just keep, going and going and going, like, what movie is this? Or what should I go and see? Like, do you like these shoes? Like, all kinds of crazy things people are doing, and it's fun, and we've all done it. But that's going to be the thing. Are they going to become more efficient? They'll become smarter. That's the thing, right? So if they become smarter and you ask it one fuzzy question and it gives you the answer, then you don't have to keep asking it 20 times, which is using more compute. So, yes. God, I answered the questions really long. Maybe I should be in politics. No, God forbid. No. Okay, it's time for cocktails? Yeah, cocktails. All right, well, cocktail, don't forget to grab your book. I came early today and I signed them all. Then I played 9 out in the back. No, kidding. So thank you again, everyone, and I'm gonna be sticking around.